Season 1, Chapter 9, Brazilian Grand Prix. One would have thought the crash in Singapore would have broken Malachi Wilson's stride, but he's been on a tear ever since. With a streak of points finishes under his belt, he has a slim chance of catching Antonio Giovinazzi in the Drivers' Championship, but he'll need a miracle over the next two races to pull off this one.
Formula One returns to Sao Paulo once again with the stage set for what promises to be another classic Brazilian Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel famously clinched his third championship here in 2012, and in 2016, Max Verstappen treated us to one of the finest wet weather drives of all time. Interlagos, always a very special race here in Brazil. It's a 2.7 mile circuit with 9 lefts and 6 rights for a total of 15 corners. But it's a wet one today, so grip and visibility will be at a premium, and the drivers will need to be careful coming up the hill in Sector 3, the scene of many an accident over the years. With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Sergio Perez will lead us away from pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Sainz, Charles Leclerc and Giovinazzi, Wilson, Gasly, Vettel and George Russell, Norris, Stroll, Lewis Hamilton and Joe, Latifi, Fernando Alonso, Esteban Ocon and Daniel Ricciardo, Mick Schumacher, they've taken a grid penalty, and Yuki Tsunoda. And now it's time to head down to the track.
What's going on, everybody? Zach RC here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to episode number 9 today of Season 1 of the F1 The Prodigy Custom Story Series for the Brazilian Grand Prix today, the penultimate race of 2022. We've got a good chance to try and finish off Malachi Wilson's season on a high. Brazil, notorious for chaos, of course. Last time we raced here, we almost didn't make it to the finish line because we almost ran out of fuel. Hopefully we won't have that issue today. We'll go to 5 red lights now, jump right into the race. The objective is to stay within the top 10 until the first pit window. It's lights out and we're underway. It's a decent getaway from us, but Giovinazzi gets away in front of us. There's Gasly on the left-hand side. We started ahead of him after out-qualifying him yesterday, but here we go now on the outside, trying to take him back, and we must have made contact with Vettel here. He must have tried to go for something. There was no space. We got a warning for a collision with him. Not quite sure what's happened to him, but he's dropped back. Regardless, we're now back in behind Giovinazzi in P7, so decent start for us. We haven't gained or lost anything from the early going, but Gasly's all over us here. Will he try and go for a move? No, he won't. He's going to stay in line for the time being. If we can try and make a dive on Giovinazzi, we can try and take P6 away from him, and hopefully that'll be a few more points for us as we push further on now into the second sector of this Interlagos circuit. Of course, not too wet right now. It is going to dry up over the course of the race. We're starting the race on these intermediate tyres. We're too far back to go for a dive bomb on the Italian, so we're going to have to stay in line and bide our time for a bit longer here so we can go for a move in the next corner. Out of the left-hander we come and charging back down this next straight into the right, where, of course, famously Alex Albon was spun out by Lewis Hamilton with just a few laps to go in the 2019 race, which saw him snatch a maiden podium out of his clutches. But regardless, that hasn't happened to us because we're in no position to get on that podium yet, and we've already got a maiden podium in Bahrain earlier this year. So we're still chasing Giovinazzi now as we come out of that last corner. The weather report saying this rain still be with us for another 10 minutes or so. Of course, we'll have to wait for the track to dry up. Giovinazzi's pulled away as we go up the hill and back towards the line now to complete the first lap of the race. And there goes Gasly to the left-hand side, going back to turn 1. He's looking for P7 off us. We're going to hold him up, but he's there on the inside. Will he manage to take the place? He's just about in front of us by a wheel. We've got the inside line going into the left-hander, and that should do us nicely coming out of the centre S. So moving towards the end of lap 2 now, it's Gasly it's Lando Norris who's half a second behind us now. He's definitely closing in. He found his way past Gasly, and now he fancies to go on Malachi for our P7. He's there on the right-hand side, so we're going to have the inside going into turn 1. We briefly used the ERS as we start lap 3. We're on the inside. We've already got a decent gap over Lando, and that's going to allow us to hold on to the place. Lando loses all full momentum. He's still there. He's about half a second behind us. The weather report still saying it's around 5 to 10 minutes left of this rain, so we're going to push on now towards the end of lap number 4, and Lando's still all over us, and he's there on the right-hand side. He's definitely getting closer lap by lap. He's side by side with us, and now he takes the place by half a car. We're going back to turn 1. We've got the spot once again. We're on the inside. We have the inside each time through the center S, and that keeps him at bay for the time being. We go over the curve a bit there, but we're still okay. No damage done. And as we move towards the end of lap 5 now, Norris is still all over us. He's relentless in that McLaren. He's not giving up. We've gone a bit wide there. There's still, of course, no DRS, but he's got a decent run as it is. Gasly trying to fight with George Russell for the P8 position. Sorry, but Russell's 2 seconds back, so he's trying to stick with us here. We're up the inside of Norris once again. We've gone a bit too deep on our exits. We got over the curb, but Norris gets all out of shape going out of that right hand, so we're all good for the time being, and we're pulling away to a decent gap. But Norris will close that once again as we move towards the end of lap number 7. Going way wide there, going up through Junso, and there goes Norris at the inside. There's contact there. He's gone a bit wide off his line. We've been forced into the grass. We still hold on to the place because Norris backs out, and we're going to be very aggressive here. Russell's now right there with Gasly, so it's going to get very tight between us four. We've gone a bit wide there once again. Norris pulls away. There's a bit of contact there with Russell, and so we're all good with him. But Gasly's pulling down off the pits, and there we go. Gasly's in the pit lane. Not sure what's happened there. He may have made contact with Russell or something like that when we went through the last turn and back up the hill again on the last lap. But moving on to lap 8 now, we're still all good. Well, we have lost a spot to Lando Norris, so now we've got to hold off George Russell here. End of lap 9, we're really not doing too well in these last couple of corners going down the main straight. As Russell's on our left-hand side, we're going to try and squeeze him towards the wall a bit if we can. It's still nice and clean, but Russell's on our inside, unwilling to back out. He's there on the inside, we're on the outside. We're going to have the inside line going into the right-hander. We forced Russell out just a little bit. We've gone over the curb, but it's well worth it because we're pulling away once again. That's Malachi still holding on to P8 just 10 laps into this Brazilian Grand Prix. So moving on towards the end of lap number 12 now. Going through Junso once again. Russell's right there with us. We've got options to change our strategy here. We're going to try and go onto a set of soft tyres. We're going to box this lap. Well, the original plan was for us to go onto a set of soft tyres, but I did have a bit of a comment about it. Want too short to do. I was considering for a minute to do a one-stop, try and get us to the end of the race, but we'd be incredibly slow if we're on the mediums or hard tyres compared to everyone else around us who will most likely be going into the softs. So we stayed on the soft tyres for the stop. So as we come towards our pit stall now, hoping for a clean, fast stop and get us back out on the racetrack in front of Russell, ideally. Don't get held up by anyone else in the pits. As Gasly's now back into the pits, not sure what's happened to him. I've seen the first stop was just to repair damage or something like that, but the second, he's in for a second stop now to change onto the dry tyres. We come out ahead of Russell, but Lewis Hamilton is right there behind us as well. This one's going to be very, very tense. We move on towards the end of lap number 14. Lando Norris is at the fastest lap of the race. Hamilton's on our inside. He's going to have the DRS on us as well because he pulls away. That Mercedes is a rocket here into Lagos, both in real life and in the game. So we continue on, and Hamilton sets the fastest lap in front of us. We're going to have DRS on him. I doubt we'll be able to get the place back, but it's definitely worth a shot here because we're still going to be close enough. As we're now we've gone past the section zone and we have the DRS. So we're getting ready to go into the DRS zone. We're definitely in range. There we go. Rear wing flap opens. So we head down the Retro Aposta, and we're still not close enough to Lewis. Definitely not making a move on him this time. At this point, we're just trying to stay as close as we can to him, just so we can be a bit faster, to be honest. So moving on to towards the end of lap number 15, we've still got DRS and Lewis. We were just under a second behind when the detection zone came through, and that's going to bring us back within a second as he sets the fastest lap once again. We've set a 1 minute 12.2. We're still way off the pace of these front runners in our AlphaTauri, so I'm not sure what we plan to do with upgrades over the winter, but hopefully it'll do us some good. We've still got DRS and Lewis because we've managed to close in down the main straight and down the Hetero Aposta we go once again. We're closing in on him, but I do get the feeling that we will fall behind. We set a purple sector there through sector 1. That was really good stuff. Not quite sure what's happened there. We've managed to set the fastest sector of the race. But coming towards the end of lap number 16 now, Lewis is now a second in front of us, and we no longer have the DRS as we begin lap number 17. That's a 1 minute 10.9, so it's a lot faster now. We're moving to lap 23. These cars definitely does still feel quite fast. And right now we are kind of just alone on the track apart from Ocon and Russell, who are closing on us big time here. Ocon's managed to work us up into the points in the Alpine. He's looking to try and chase us down, try and take what we have in P9 if he can. Of course, Giovinazzi's quite way up in the distance because he's our main rival. He's the one we're trying to catch so far in this race, so we're not doing too bad. Of course, our aim is still just to finish in the points. As you saw, the objective change on me came out after that first pit stop. Ocon's still closing on us now, but he's not close enough to go for a move, but he definitely will be come the end of the lap as we move on towards the end of lap 24 now. Ocon's there, he's got the DRS as Hamilton and Norris are both in the pit lane for another set of soft tyres. Of course, it is coming to the point where it's time to change tyres. Ocon's on our inside now. Does he have enough to complete the pass going through turn 1? No, he doesn't. We're still there with him, but there he goes on the outside. There's contact. We may have broken a slight bit of our front wing there. I think I saw some damage. We've got a DRS though, we ran right behind him, and so we're all good now. We're just in front of him going down this next straight, but Ocon's still staying with us, unable to pull to the inside and go for a move. We're going to try and defend from him on the inside, so good stuff here as we come towards the end now of lap number 26. The time is right to change on to our next set of soft tyres, and that will bring us to the last 10 laps of this race as Norris and Hamilton have both found their way past us, so nothing more to lose on that front. Russell and Ocon are making their way down the main, coming towards the end of the main straight now, so it is looking less and less likely we will beat them out. Here we go now, out of our pit box and going back out onto the racetrack as quickly as we can. Russell's through in turn 1. Ocon might just be through as well. Of course, this huge right turn here in the pit lane has caused us to lose a lot of time. And there goes Ocon off into the distance. So we are going to be right behind these two when we come back out of the pits. So we've got some serious work to do here because we are second behind, and the aim now is still to continue scoring points. We're currently failing that objective. What's happened to the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz, who's pulling over to the left-hand side of the track? It looks like he's out of the race. He's got some kind of issue. Not sure what's happened. There's the other Ferrari as well of Charles Leclerc, who's done a full 180 coming out of turn number 4, and the safety car has been deployed, and this could be a huge tyre advantage for everyone who's just pitted. It's going to bunch the field right back up as we begin lap number 27 here. So this could be, like I say, a serious tyre advantage for drivers such as these guys running the back of the top 10, like Malachi Wilson. Let's see what he can make of this situation. Will he manage to score points? Unbelievable. This safety car restart is an absolute godsend. We're now back up into still back up in P10, but our objective is to take advantage of the restart and finish in the points. So we'll be trying to take as many places as we can on this restart if we can. The safety car is coming in, and now as we get set to go back to green flag racing, on the inside of Ocon, not going in front of him just yet, but there we go, the green flag back out, we're back to racing, and there's a Haas on the left hand side of the track. It's Mick Schumacher, who must have been in the front of the queue going through turn 1, and we've had to move out of the way to get out of his way, so we've lost loads of time here. Over the curb we go, getting all out of shape coming out of turn number 2, and that's going to allow Russell to pull away, so that could be our chances of a better finish gone. So that, and Lance Stroll's having a go at us here. Schumacher's completely messed this up for us, and that's very irritating, because we could have a very good chance on these tyres to score points, so we've got better wear than everyone else. We're still up in the top 10. We've got 3 more laps left to go now. The DRS is being enabled, and here's Russell now. We're right behind him, gone over the grass bit, so he's going to gain a bit more time on us. We're going to be within half a second here when we enter that DRS zone, and going back down the Retaposta towards turn 4. Here we go now. The rear wing opens. Can we close in enough to go for a dive? No, we can't. We have to stay right behind Russell. Try to go for a move, and we bang tyres there. And no damage done to our front wing, which is the main thing at this point of the race. We're still closing in on Russell. We need to try and make this move as quickly as we can. Leclerc's already 2.8 seconds up the road, and it's extremely annoying for us. And I'm very frustrated here with both Schumacher and Russell. So going to dive off his inside, being very aggressive. That's definitely a questionable move. We're going to squeeze him way too hard there, and he's going to lose control of his car, but just about managed to save it. But unfortunately, that's all we can get out of it. He falls out of the points, unfortunately for him. But Verstappen's won the race, and he'll have a huge advantage going into the last race of the season in Abu Dhabi to try and win the Drivers' Championship for the first time. We're going to come home in P8 here, but unless Stroll has something to say about it, coming towards the line, he's got DRS, here comes Ocon as well. It's going to be close, we just about managed to hold on, and that's still chapter clear. So it's not the worst thing in the world, but I'm still really frustrated about the fact that we could have had so much more from that last restart. But unfortunately, Schumacher and Russell, or Schumacher being in the way on the restart, and Russell, unfortunately, he was just a casualty of our late charge, blinded by nothing but white rage. Verstappen wins the race from Giovinazzi and Perez, then that'll give Verstappen a big advantage over Lewis Hamilton going into the last race of the season in Abu Dhabi, which will be coming to your screens on Monday. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that. If you have been enjoying the series so far, make sure to give the video a like, and hope you've been watching the players to keep yourself up to date. Looking at the final results now. Verstappen wins the race, as I say, from Giovinazzi and Perez. And it's Bottas, Lando Norris in 5th place, Lewis Hamilton 6th, Charles Leclerc in 7th, us down in 8th place, Lance Stroll in 9th, Esteban Ocon in P10. Man, that is still really frustrating though. We could have had so much more from that race, or we could have potentially finished in 6th or so, but it's been taken away from us in perhaps the cruelest way possible. Looking at the Drivers' Championship now, it's still Max Verstappen in control of the Drivers' Championship over Lewis Hamilton, so he's got serious work to do in this last race. It's going to be very, very close here, but I think Hamilton will need quite a bit to go his way in order for him to still take the title and Verstappen to lose out. It's all still to play for. We run in 10th place in the championship, 20 points behind Giovinazzi. Looking at the Constructors' Championship now, that's still to play for. 19 points separate Mercedes from Red Bull going into this last round. McLaren 3rd, Ferrari 4th, and AlphaTauri in 5th. It's Alpine 6th, taking back 6th place from Aston Martin, who are on 7th. Williams still in 8th on 3 points. It's Alfa Romeo and Haas, both having scored 0 points throughout this campaign. But with that, you guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and we're hoping to get 700 subscribers as quickly as we can. Hope you've enjoyed the episode, and with that, I shall see you in the next video. So thank you guys for watching, and goodbye. Malachi comes over the line in 8th place, another 4 points for his tally. However, catching Giovinazzi now seems almost an impossible task, with the gap at 20 points. The final race of 2022 looms, after which our rookie is a rookie no longer.